This is sourdough discard pizza dough, and it's the best thing I've done with leftover starter. You're not waiting 24 hours, you're not babysitting a full sourdough ferment. You're making a Poolish with the discard the night before, and the next day you have the most flavorful pizza dough you've ever worked with. Since we're not using the starter as the leavening agent, we're going to add the starter just for that sourdough taste. We're going to add a little tiny bit of yeast to get that kicked up. Going to mix that up good. A Poolish is equal parts water and flour with just a little bit of yeast in it. That yeast activates and starts the fermentation process. But because it's 100% hydration, meaning equal parts water and flour, it's not really a dough that can rise like a bread. Although you will see a whole bunch of bubbles and you'll see that gluten bond just from the little bit of stirring I've done here. We're going to put the lid on that and then we're going to set that out. This needs to ferment for at least 8 hours. I like 24 hours best. You get the best flavor and it smells the best. Now it's time to make that stretchy pizza dough. Homemade. Look at all those bubbles. Look at the gluten and the hydration of the flour that's happened. We're just going to go ahead and mix up the rest of the water and the liquid ingredients first. So we're going to put in a little bit of oil, the remainder of our water. Remember, we don't want 100% hydration. We want somewhere between 55 and 65% is pretty good. Some people will push it up into the 70s or 80s, but it makes it hard to work with. So we're just giving that a loose mix. We've mixed all of our dry ingredients into the mixer bowl. We're going to get those moved around a little bit, and then we're going to start to pour that Poolish in. This is where the real magic happens. We're going to let this mixer go on like a medium speed for roughly 3 to 6 minutes. You want to start to see that dough pulled all the way away from the bowl, and you're also going to want to see that smooth out quite a bit. This is building those strong gluten bonds so that we can make a nice stretchy pizza dough here, and it will be easy to handle. It'll be chewy. These are all the hallmarks of a good pizza. Anyways, you can see that that's really starting to clean the bowl. Got a nice smooth texture, as you can see when I pull it away here. Look at that shine. This maybe could have gone a little bit longer, but totally unnecessary, as you'll see when I stretch the dough. So now we're going to go right into balling this up so it can get a second fermentation. So I'm going to weigh this out. I'm going to be able to make 4 dough balls out of this, and these are pretty thin crust pizzas. If you wanted to go thicker crust, you could definitely cut this down to 3 dough balls and do a little bit thicker crust, but I like mine thin, crispy, and chewy. So it's important to make this surface tension. You see how I was pinching that and then I balled it up. I continued to ball that up and make that just a very tight surface tension. This is going to help you build out that fermentation while it's in these. A little bit of light oil in the Tupperware, flip that over, put a lid on it. We're going to put these back in the fridge and give this dough a second fermentation in the fridge. It'll ferment slower, it'll develop more texture and flavor. These are going to go in the fridge for at least overnight. You could leave them in the fridge for up to 5 days. However, I find the sweet spot to be right around 3 days. We're always going to want to start with a pretty thick layer of semolina flour. This semolina acts kind of like a ball bearing and allows the crust and the dough to not stick to the surfaces. This way, when I'm launching this onto the pizza stone, or in my case, I'm going to cook these on a parchment paper on a pizza steel in the oven. My oven's preheating that pizza stone to 450 degrees, and it's been preheating for about 25 to 35 minutes at this point. The pizza steel is in plenty warm shape by the time I get to it. Did you see how I placed that dough down and then starting in the middle and just kind of pressing all that dough out? I was able to push those bubbles out to the edges and create a crust. We're going to put that on the parchment paper. I like about 2 to 3 good spoonfuls of sauce. That is crushed tomato sauce. I've added some basil and some salt to that, just about a teaspoon for the whole can. And you always got to go with a little bit of Parmesan cheese after that. These are fresh basil leaves. I've started keeping a basil plant on my windowsill in my kitchen for all the pizza I make. And then you want good, full fat, low moisture cheese if you can find it. This is fresh cut pepperoni from a pepperoni stick that I bought. It's really good. Normally I would put my pepperoni under the cheese, but these slices were a little thicker and I felt like the high heat of the oven would get that grease and oil out of there. And then this is some mild Italian sausage that I've cooked, browned it up a bit. Make sure those onion slices are nice and thin, and this is going to give you the best consistency. We can just launch that right onto the pizza stone. And we're looking at about 10 to 12 minutes to finish this up. This is right at the 10-minute mark. You can see it was just about there, so we let it go about 3 more minutes, 13 minutes overall. Oh man, this thing smelled great. It was piping hot and it came out delicious. My crust was crispy. You can see that around the edges. You can see when I lift this pizza up, the whole thing just kind of lifts up. I'm sorry I didn't get a shot of the undercarriage for you, but this pizza turned out fantastic. The crust, the sourdough flavor was really strong. Got a nice crispy crust there. All in all, this is probably my favorite pizza dough recipe. I did another pizza dough that same night. Thought I'd film that as well. This was just mozzarella and some cherry tomatoes cut into quarters. This one turned out really fantastic as well, and you can see I got a nice crispy crust. I pulled this one out a little bit lighter. I didn't let it crisp up as much, but you can see from this crust that it had a fantastic bubble in the crust, and this one turned out great as well. Hope you enjoy the video. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Like, comment, and subscribe.